Happy New Year, sports lovers, and welcome to the first edition of the Mark2Mark Sports conversation. The only conversation, by the way, with a difference. Let me stress that. So I am Pali Rose, and as usual, I have on my left the inimitable Mark Namanya, and then on my right, the ever insightful Mark Ssali. Now, last year, the way it ended, guys, it ended with the, like the most hottest event that you can ever imagine. It's as if we're in the World Cup final penalty shootout. And this year, it is set for even, like more fireworks. So I don't know how we are going to start it. Maybe more goals, more wins, more banter. Just stay tuned in, okay? So today on our menu, we have home special where Uganda Cranes are at the CHAN in East Africa and the AFCON in Morocco. We have the European football where we see big movers and shakers in the January transfer window and the second half of the EPL. And then we have elsewhere abroad where we are looking at the 2025 year of sports, where there's golf, basketball, athletics, rugby, tennis, Formula One, boxing, everything involved there. And then back home, we'll be looking at the Ugandan golf and rugby in 2025 with Mark Namanya. And then, of course, Mark Ssali will take us on the Uganda on the international scene 2025. And then we'll come in with my, thoughts of wisdom as usual. And then we get into the betting prediction. So let's dive in, guys. Let's start at home, where the Uganda Cranes are flying into the CHAN and AFCON this year. Mark Namanya, are we set for some real Cranes magic here, or is it some time to brace for learning moments?
Well, it's historic that Uganda is hosting CHAN, first and foremost. I think that is something we must not take for granted. It's never happened before, and I still can't believe that we are barely 1 month away from a CHAN which will be played in Uganda. Interestingly, Mark, Uganda has never advanced beyond the group stages of CHAN, so hopefully there will be some bit of history, some bit of jinx to be broken if we can advance on home soil, because we've always qualified for CHAN. I think we've actually played in every CHAN edition since the very first one in 2009, but for some reason we haven't managed to make it to the knockout stages. I don't know why. Through all the coaches, Bobby Williamson, Mitchell, and Zaba, Paul Put, McKinstry, we qualified for every CHAN, but we just couldn't make it to.
Plus in the groups, yeah. I think market is a measure. Sometimes CHAN is a measure of how strong the domestic leagues are. Because across the continent of Africa, our best players are away from the continent. They are largely in Europe, with the exception of maybe South Africa, because their league is so strong, they keep their best players there, and they have some of the rest of the continent's best players there as well. And yet those ones, even the ones in South Africa, cannot play for us in CHAN. CHAN is for only domestic leagues, and also.
And of course, Mark, Dennis Omedi signed for APL.
Yeah,
which means
so he can't play. Yeah, that's one of the issues we have. Because, for example, you would have hoped that if we played CHAN, and even if we could not bring, say, even in the back in the days when he's talking about, even if we could not bring down, say, a David Obua from Hearts, or could not bring, recently, we could not get maybe Farouk Mia from Turkey or Ukraine, you would have wanted, say, to be able to play Emal Kwip, but he's in the Tanzanian league, and you can't play a player in the Tanzanian league. Wow. You'd have wanted to play Dennis Onyango because he was the best goalkeeper on the continent domestically, but he's in South Africa, so you can't play him. So that's how it's been, and maybe it was a measure of the strength of our league. However, when he talks of Med, it reminds me of the squad that actually FUFA have someone for CHAN. And it's the strong one, because when I look through it, I see that there are players who've got exposure at international level beyond CHAN, who have been actually part of training squads in the last qualifying campaign, which took us to Morocco AFCON. So, you're talking about the KCC goalkeeper, you're talking about Gavin Chizito, who is a defender at KCC.
He's actually played in Egypt before.
He played in Egypt, so he's part of the squad.
Sishiganda.
Yeah, so you look at, again, defensively, you look at guys like, say, Torach and Hilary Mukundane at Vipers. Yeah, this guy, he's been part of the senior Cranes squad before. You look at a guy like, say, Moses Aliro from URA. He's been part of the qualifying campaign of that squad, and Begisa also from URA. So you look at those defenders. Then you look at the midfield, and you see guys like, say, Said Mayanja and Seren Joji. Those guys from KCCA, they've been part of the senior squad. So has Uganda, who Mark talks about from Villa, and so has Alan Okello. Alan Okello actually is a starter for the senior national team, even when you play with guys from abroad.
And he's also exposed. He's playing. He's quite.
Yeah, so he's had a great last campaign for the Cranes, and yet he's part of Chad.
And he's having a very good season.
Very positive. Yeah. So Sechiganda has started for Cranes in international qualifiers, and should find Challenge or even easier to play in the Villa guy.
Yeah, but then
in striking, Mark, before you go in striking, of course we have lost Dennis Omedi. And Hakim Chuanuka from Villa. Dennis Omedi from Kitara, Hakim Chuanuka from Villa have been part of the senior Cranes squad that has been playing in the qualifiers. And Omedi has been actually our standout player over the last 1 year in last 2024.
Yeah, he had a goal which was nominated for the Puskas FIFA
and also for best goal in Africa. In each one of those, I think he finished top 10. So he really did well. But he's only just gone and signed for APR in Rwanda now. Dennis Omedi and Hakim Chuanuka Villa have signed for APR.
It's quite. It must be some obscene money because so many clubs have been chasing Omedi.
Unfortunately for Omedi, under the Ugandan circumstances, he's really popped up late. He's a late developer, you'd like to say, because when you see a date of birth listed as being 1994, that makes him 30 this year. I had hoped that he was younger because that would be eligible for Europe. But now I understand all those circumstances why he signed for APR. Hakim Chuanuka on the other side is born in 2003, so he's really young. He could have gone to Europe, but he started at APR. But APR is one of the better paying clubs in this region. They are consistent, they are run efficiently. As an army side in Rwanda, you can expect. So we lose that on those ones. I think they've been replaced by Osama Arafat from KCCA. So this very good player. So our striking will have that one, as well as two veterans from previous squads who have not featured last year. That is Paul Muchurezi from NEC, as well as Milton Karisa from Vipers. So you have a squad which is experienced enough. If we are playing at home, they should be able to take us out of the group for the first time ever. Because Mark, like Mike was saying, we have some bad history over there. Never gone beyond the group stages. Yeah, but playing out of Nambole, we should.
But another thing I want to talk about, Chan, is that, and maybe I should just say this for the record of the people who are watching us, that Mark and I are part of the local organizing committee of this Chan tournament. And of course, there's been all these question marks about Uganda's readiness for the tournament. Will the country be ready? I think the country will be ready. There's a lot of work which is happening around the clock, 24/7, and it will be history which I think the country must embrace, and ultimately I think the tournament will happen once CAF has given it the blessing and the endorsement. It will happen. It reminds me, Mark, of the 2009 FIFA World Cup draw, and we were there together in Cape Town.
Yes, yeah.
Where there are so many naysayers from all parts of the world about whether South Africa would be ready to host the World Cup, and there was a lot of outlandish stuff which was being written in sections of the Western press. And I remember sitting down with one of the most acclaimed journalists in the UK, Henry Winter, and they said, listen, once FIFA give their blessing to the tournament, it can never fail because they have so much wherewithal that they can't fail once they bless the tournament. And with the endorsement that CAF has given this region,
we should be able to host it.
We should be able to host it. There is to go together with the government backing, which
absolutely
is well documented.
It's meant to run between Feb 1st and 28th for the month of Feb. There's, of course, been talk around that they might push it for a further month or a few more weeks and all. That's possible, but Mark is right. It will happen regardless. There's a draw on the 15th, which will be fanfare. Like he was saying, we are part of the organizing committee, and also I'm part of spectators services and fans experience. So I and the team will be tasked with beginning to interest fans in the tournament.
And I'm part of
starting with that date on the draw. So we will do that, and then of course driving past Nambole on my way home. over the last few nights. I've seen that it has been full elite throughout the entire night. It just tells you that stadium management, along with the tournament organizers, are looking to
because finally, finally the new lights, the brand new lights, which had been planned for the Nambole for the actual refurbishment of Nambole, are actually arrived. They've been installed. So the next time you go to Nambole, you'll have a very
that explains the lighting through the nights when I've driven past. I think they're doing testing.
They're doing testing.
So they should add an anticipation, really.
Absolutely.
Should be beautiful.
Absolutely. And I mean, as a Ugandan, every Ugandan is going to be proud of this moment because it's historic.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can imagine, because of the way things have changed, we're going to have a CHAN at the start of the year. And then our same Cranes team, like I was saying, is going to have to play AFCON. But AFCON is actually in December. So 2025 for the Cranes is going to be busy in that sense. AFCON, CHAN now, and then gives them lessons and things to prepare for AFCON in 2025. Like I said, almost half of the teams, of the players who are involved in CHAN have been summoned to senior Cranes squads for international games beyond the continent, against teams beyond the continent, so or beyond domestic competition rather. So you will see that they will use this as a test, and then we are in Morocco in 2025, and after Morocco has closed, we are into now Uganda will be the next host. Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania will be next hosts. So all the lessons we pick from 2025. Will run us towards hosting AFCON 2027. And in the meantime, in between, of course, we've talked about Nambole and the lights and everything. In between, there's the speed at which our contractors are working to ensure that Hoima Stadium is ready. It's just amazing. And then, of course, Akibwa Stadium has been endorsed to start the construction to start. So that will also go a long way in adding on to the infrastructure that we have before AFCON 2027. Most of this
as well as the work
starting in 2025 out.
And that goes along with the work happening at Chambogo, which has been marked as one of the training facilities. So there is a lot of infrastructure work which is happening.
Kuku as well
as Kadeva. So it's a historic moment for Uganda in every sense of the word, and we have to look forward to it with glee.
All right, thank you so much. Now on to European football. The January transfer window is open for business. I don't know if you're looking forward to the big moves or the big flops. Mark Ssali, the second half of EPL is here. Tell us.
So January transfers are usually, of course, it's a smaller window, and it's tough for teams to actually be, because they're preoccupied through the season, the first half of the season with getting on with things. It's very difficult for them to put together one list of needs, and two, the funding to actually make big blockbuster moves and everything. But it's happened before. I know Mark has...
but also even Mark, the fact that most players will be cup tied for European football.
Oh, yes.
The Europe and the Champions League limits the anticipation and flexibility with which the coaches...
With which you coach, If you're playing in the Champions League and you're a big club, and with some of the players you really want are also playing Champions League football for clubs elsewhere, you might want to wait until the summer so that you sign them on, they're eligible to play for you. Because you'll bring them on and they can only play in the league, they're cup tied here, cup tied there. But anyways, the one for me, as far as blockbuster moves is concerned, that I'm really look forward to would be Victor Gyökeres going to Man United. Victor Gyökeres is one of the hottest strikers in Europe, playing out of Sporting Lisbon. Of course, he's cup tied playing Champions League football for Sporting Lisbon, but United are not there. And they need him for totally different matters. They have domestic matters to sort out.
And I'm afraid it's always going to happen in this window.
Well, it's the one I've looked forward to. Which one is going to happen?
I was having a question if Arsenal will still be running like a Ferrari.
I'm thinking.
I knew we'll be ready to step on the top.
I think one of the challenges with this window, I think, after the introduction of AFP, it's a challenge right now for clubs to actually go out big in the January window. I think most times, if you remember the last January window, most were either loan deals or it was a low-profile transfer. And I think the bigger deals do happen in the summer. There's been speculation about Mark2Mark Sport going to AC Milan. I think AC Milan are interested in the player. I think there's also been speculation around Man City getting the Egyptian forward, Mamouche, who's been scoring many goals for Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. I know Arsenal are interested in Alexander Isak, the Newcastle forward, who's been the best player this season outside of Mohamed Salah in the Premier League. But some of these are not going to happen. I just think they'll happen in the summer. I think if we're going to have any moves happening in this window, they're going to be loan spells at best.
Yeah, it's very tough. The loan spell is the most practical. When you look at speculation going through the papers or the wires, you will see a lot of swap deals being suggested. They've never happened.
Yeah.
They're not about to start happening. So when you find a story with a swap deal, just run over it and go to the next one.
And of course, this is silly season, so you're going to listen to all sorts of
links
outrageous things and all. Yeah,
but I'm telling you,
some of the best general moves I can recall, Mark. I think we can go back to 19 years ago. That was the window of 2006 when Sir Alex Ferguson signed and Nemanja Vidic and Patrice Evra. Yeah. So they had a very rough Jan-Feb match airport, the opening 6 months. But what it did is that it gave them an entry into the Premier League, like it was a baptism of fire. If you remember, I think...
a game against Blackburn.
Yeah. And United lost a couple of games, but by the time the 2007 season started, 2006-2007, the players were... They'd acclimatized to the league. They understood the weather, the climate, and the league. And United embarked on a run that basically ushered them to 3 successive Premier League titles.
Yeah, absolutely. Because United had won a championship in 2003. Then Arsenal had gone and beaten to 2004. And then Mourinho had come into the league.
Yeah, and won 2005, 2006.
For 5 and 6.
Yes.
But because Vidic and Evra came halfway through that 5-6 season, they were ready for the start of 6-7, and that's when United regained the title from Chelsea. Which is why when I think back to Vidic and Evra that many years ago, I'm thinking United can actually make a move, break the bank, get Victor Gyökeres, bring him in to score the goals, and embark on a journey of recovery, because they've got Ruben Amorim and an exciting new system and an exciting future, where it did look that way a month ago. But now, after his recovery from several straight losses to performing the way they did at Anfield, all of a sudden United fans are back thinking, this is the guy, and if you give him the right weapons, he can actually go ahead and do things for United even this season. When you talk guys, for me that guy is Victor Gyökeres, because that now is the most gaping hole United have. A goal scorer of elite level, because
Rasmus
and Joshua Zirkzee are not elite level. They're good players. They're good players, but not elite level. Yeah.
No, they're average players, Mark.
Yeah, and for Marcus Rashford, who Mark has talked about, I think a change of address would actually do him a world of good. He's been choosy about where he can go. If he's leaving Man United, he's not been training or being involved in matchday squads at all for over the last 1 month. But so he's ruled out Saudi Arabia, where would make tons of money. He has ruled out leagues like those of like Turkey. He wants to stay in the top 5 European leagues, and that is because I think he wants to get back into the England squad for the World Cup in the USA.
And I think that
AC Milan would be a very, very good.
And I think that is smart of him, because unless you're an African footballer or your name is Cristiano Ronaldo, when you go to Saudi Arabia, it is going to be highly unlikely that you're going to be called by a national team. I mean, if you're Sadio Mane, Senegal will still call you because you're Sadio Mane. But for some reason, I think Jordan Henderson actually did hinder his chances of being made in the English squad after making that move.
Yeah, and he was called for
going to Eredivisie. His national team career is probably over. It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, I mean, Ivan Toney left the Premiership and Brentford for Saudi Arabia, and the England coach has not looked there in his direction again.
And the guy is actually a very good striker.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Marcus Rashford is right in wanting to stay in the top 5 leagues in Europe, and AC Milan for me would be a very good choice. There's others that want him. I've heard Juventus have also taken a look.
I think we won't be short of takers. Rashford is a good player. And let's be very clear about that.
Yes.
I think he won't be short of any takers, and I think he has to his decisions, which club is best for him, which one suits him, which coach is going to give him the confidence to go and sign for whichever destination he wants. But I think the signs are very clear that Rashford is in his last season at United.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Now we are getting on to elsewhere abroad. 2025 is the year of sports with everything from golf and boxing to, NBA and tennis. So Mark Namanya, first take us through the whole golf thing. And don't mention Tiger Woods like the best person for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention Tiger Woods because Tiger Woods is, I think, is in the evening of his career. But I think it's going to be interesting to see for me, two things. One, where the PGA and Liv merger goes, because there have been profitable talks between that merger. I think the announcement was made that it would merge, but it's taken longer than ever. We don't know when that harmonious position is going to be reached. We're still waiting. And secondly, we're waiting to see whether Scotty Scheffler can have the kind of season he had last year. Scheffler had a season we haven't had since the era of Tiger Woods. I mean, he was simply unplayable. He was the best player T2 Green. He was hitting fairways more than anyone. He won 2 majors last year. He won, I think, 7 or 8 PGA events. He was by heads and shoulders the best golfer in the world, and arguably one of the most dominant sportsmen there was in 2024. So it will be interesting to see whether the likes of Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, and Justin Thomas can give him a run for his money, because I mean, if he can replicate the season he had in 2024, then believe me, he's going to become the best player we have had since Tiger Woods, because no one has remotely threatened to be Tiger Woods. McIlroy, flat out to deceive. I think he's spent so much time engrossed in the politics between Liv and PGA, but Scotty Scheffler is a real deal, and I don't think there is any golf I've seen without any flaw in his game. He drives very well. His approach game is solid. His wedge game is excellent, and there's no hotter putter on the greens than Scotty Scheffler.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes, Max.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's quite a bit. Of course, we'll bounce them off each other. I'll go to the tennis.
Yes, please.
This year, of course, largely what we look forward to is the 4 Grand Slams. We've got the Australian Open starting in midway through this month, and then we'll go into the French Open in May, and then we have the US Open. We have Wimbledon and the US Open, all before September is out. So the 4 Grand Slams will be there, and then of course we usually have the ATP finals, and these days they go to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, and the WTA finals. But as far as the men's draw is concerned, of course, we expect that we are continuing a new rivalry. That is between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. Yannick Sinner is the young Italian who's world #1 now, and Carlos Alcaraz is the guy who has won already 4 Grand Slams, the Spaniard. He's dropped down to 3, but those are the 2 main rivals on the ATP Tour now. They've got big rivalries, of course, from the old man, Novak Djokovic. He's 7th in the world these days, still on the scene, 24 Grand Slams, world record, but he's looking for one.
I think he has one more slam in him.
Maybe, yeah. So
from Australia.
Oh, yeah, so we'll be here, Australia, maybe.
Which has already started.
Yeah, so we'll be looking to see what he can do there. And then there's those guys, the generation which came right after the Djokovic.
Yeah.
Before Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz hit the scene, you had Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev has already won some slams, the Russian.
Okay.
Alexander Zverev, the German, is world #2 now. He's splitting Sinner and Alcaraz. And then you've got guys like, say, Grigor Dimitrov is back in the top 10. You've got Stefanos Tsitsipas, the Greek, out of the top 10. But these are the guys who were there, the guys who expected to take over. Kasper Ruud from Norway, the guys who expected to take over from Djokovic and Nadal when they were to retire, and Federer, before these kids came and then jumped the queue. So that largely, the Grand Slams are going to go to rotate around those guys for the year. And then for the women, women's tennis is more unpredictable than men's.
Way more unpredictable.
Yeah, so many stars pop up and Grand Slams are shared in between and all. But the 3 outstanding players towards the end of 2024 are the world's top 3 now, even in the rankings. I do expect that the Grand Slams might be shared again between them.
Iga
Swiatek, she's the Polish girl. She was #1 for a long time, but she's 2 now because at the end of last season, the Russian Aryna Sabalenka hit great form. So she's #1 and Swiatek is 2, and then the American Coco Gauff the young American, trying to walk the steps of the Serena brothers.
She looks so much like them.
Yeah, like we have so much plays like Venus a lot. Yeah. Venus Williams and all. She was walking their path. So those three, Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Coco Gauff, are the ones I expect. But like we say, women's tennis is so unpredictable. People will pop up, win slams from nowhere, and disappear again.
What's the current on the Williams sisters?
Well, they're just enjoying their retirement.
Enjoying their retirement.
They're enjoying their retirement, Lots
being married, being
married, having babies later in life after dedicating all their life to tennis and making fortune.
And having a stint or two in the world of fashion.
And making fortune as well.
I don't know if they're cut out for that, but...
So that's tennis for you. Mark, maybe I want to say something about boxing.
Yes.
Well, in the world of boxing, I think it's been Alexander Usyk. In December, he became the first man to beat Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury back-to-back. Fury was the WBC and WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Now Usyk has beaten him back-to-back, and he also beat Anthony Joshua back-to-back, and he's the first unified champion in 25 years of the heavyweight division, which is the ribbon division of boxing. So he's the best boxer in the whole world. But the thing about Usyk is that he's actually not a natural heavyweight. He came from cruiserweight. Usyk, you could compare Usyk to Evander Holyfield, because Holyfield wasn't a natural weight. Even when he was fighting Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis, it was evident he was a smaller man, because he was just making that leap from cruiserweight to heavyweight. But Usyk is so skilled. He's got a tough jaw. He's the only boxer I've seen in my entire life who gets stronger with every round. Fury had that edge over Deontay Wilder in their trilogy, but he met a smaller man who gets better with every round. I haven't seen a boxer who is more deadly from rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In both fights, Fury came out stronger, but the mid-5th, 6th, 7th round, Usyk was moving better, getting the combinations better, and wearing the bigger man down. And that's why he managed to beat Usyk. Now, the only person who has come very, very close to beating Usyk is that Daniel Dubois, the guy who's holding the IBF belt. Boxing politics dictates that when you're the unified champion of the world, which Usyk was, you're mandated to defend that belt against the different boxers who are, because each belt has got its own rankings, WBC, WBF, the WBA, IBF, and so forth. So he had to relinquish the IBF belt, and that's when Dubois took it against Anthony Joshua. Now, Dubois is going to play Parker next month, Joseph Parker, and then the winner there will fight Usyk. Now, when Usyk fought Dubois, Usyk eventually prevailed in the 9th round via a KO, but it was a very controversial fight because Dubois actually connected on a blow, a very legitimate blow on Usyk, and it was ruled as a low blow.
As low blow, yeah.
A low blow, but actually, when I watched that fight, and I saw the replays over and over again, it was a genuine punch. It was a legitimate punch, which should have actually handed Usyk his first loss. Now, you don't want to give a champion like Usyk, another lease of life, and I think he banked on it, and then he took out Dubois. So it would be interesting to see that kind of rematch. Of course, Dubois is the younger man. Dubois is 27. He cleaned Anthony Joshua in their last fight. He's got such tremendous power, tremendous youth, tremendous movement, and it's going to be interesting. And he's a natural heavyweight, so I can't wait to see that rematch against Usyk. I think it is going to be for me the boxing event to look out for
the year.
Because I don't think there's any other heavyweight. Zilei Zhang, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, none of the guys can match Usyk.
Yeah, you see back that even in the past, when the heavyweight division was blessed with more talented fighters than we have now, the best fights and the biggest headline makers were those series, those rematches that like we have now. When it talks Usyk and Dubois, you go back to thinking, say, Tyson and Evander Holyfield, or Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. When they fight like that, or George Foreman and Muhammad Ali.
Actually, the classic trilogy, the classic trilogy was Riddick Bowe and Evander.
Riddick Bowe and Evander. That was a trilogy. It was classic, yeah. And then, of course, let's say Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier in the late 70s, and all those kinds of heavyweight spices us up when these guys actually get an opportunity to avenge each other's losses and all. For example, when when Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis fought, one of the fights was called a draw. Very controversial. When you thought that Evander had actually lost.
In my lifetime, that is the most controversial decision in sport. Combining cricket, combining soccer, basketball, athletics is the most controversial decision. Like it's the worst decision.
Wow.
It's more controversial, more dubious than any African presidential election.
That's saying something.
No,
Isn't it? That's saying something. But thanks, Mark. Pal, if you don't mind, I'll jump to the basketball from Mark's boxing there, and say what we expect in the second part of the season. Of course, is the NBA finals will be coming sometime May, June, towards the summer, and the way the NBA has shaped up this year is that we are looking at the two best teams in the league. Played on a couple of nights ago, and again, where you'd fancy them to be in a final. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as favorite to win MVP. Him and Chet and the guys from the West, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East, because they've got as a five, perhaps the best starting five in the league. They've got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland as a backcourt, and then they've got Gladys Levert as a three, and then they've got two big men, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, who are playing very superb basketball. So the unit is playing very well, and they're doing good things. But we know two things about the NBA. One is health. These days it determines so much with the NBA who actually is fit for the playoffs. People get injured at the wrong times and all. But two is star power. So while you think Cleveland are the best team in the East, you have the defending champion Celtics with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and Drew Holiday and Porzingis and Orford. Yeah. So they're still the team to beat, to be honest. The Celtics, even if they're behind Cavaliers in the rankings. But then you also have two dark horses for me. One is when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo in form, him and Dame Lillard can actually drive a team like the Milwaukee Bucks
in a 7-game series.
To a conference final, like a 7-game series. Or when you have Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid and Paul George fit, and they're playing with Tyrese Maxey, they can still beat one of the better teams and get you to a conference final because of the star power. So you have that. And in the Western Conference, it's the same. OKC have Shea. He's the best player in the league, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's got a good team around him because they're young, they're athletic and everything. But Denver still have Jokic. And they still have Murray, and they can raise themselves in the second part of the season. Come there and beat you, and they can clean OKC
and
Jokic, in a playoff series.
Jokic is playing like a player with a mission.
Again, because I think he's Shea's biggest rival for MVP.
Absolutely,
yeah. So then you have that. You have a team like, say, the Phoenix Suns. They've got KD, they've got Kevin Durant, and they've got Devin Booker playing, and they've got Bradley Beal. There are rumors that they might get Jimmy Butler in a trade from Miami. Now they'd kill you. They'd kill somebody if they got Jimmy Butler. Even if it would be a swap for Bradley Beal. That would be somebody. So you expect they can be in and around the conference final.
And then there's a team like Mavs.
Yeah, you've got Dallas Mavericks. They've got star power in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. They were in the finals last year. You can't rule them out if those guys are healthy to come and lead that team. And then, of course, the two guys who are still big draws in the NBA remain LeBron James at the Lakers and Steph Curry at the Warriors. I don't think these guys are going to shake up the league and win another ring, play with the teams they have around them, unless certain things have happened in the trend. But they're awkward opponents to meet in the playoffs. Yeah, in the playoffs,
they understand the postseason.
You don't want to play against them, especially in the first round. They can knock out a top.
They can knock out a top seed. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Both teams, Lakers and Warriors, they're not going to win the title, but they can knock out a top seed in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's NBA for you, basketball, that we expect. Yeah.
And maybe quickly in athletics, because this year we have the World Athletics Championships, which are happening in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And from a Ugandan perspective, for me, I'm looking forward to Jacob Kiplimo, because I think probably Joshua Cheptegei is beginning to...
Yeah, he's going on to the road. He's going to the road, so it's going to be...
So I think Kiplimo's curve is on an upward trajectory in his career. So I'm looking forward to the World Athletics Championships. And, we'll wait to see, of course, the African, the Botswana chap, Leslie Tebo,
Yeah.
who won the 200 meters. I think can only get better, and he's going to have that rivalry with Noah Lyle. I think Tebo, word has it that he may be thinking of venturing into the 100 meters. So, it will be quite interesting.
Proper one, yeah. I just remembered, Mark and Paul, that we talked about the transfers.
Yes.
And for the football. But there's some more football to expect in 2025, which I can run through very quickly.
Oh, please.
One is, of course, you have the FA Cup final that's coming in May, about May 17th, around there. So that's something to look forward to at Wembley. You have then the Champions League final 2 weeks later, on May 31st. It's going to be in Bayern, at the Allianz Arena in Munich. That's the Bayern Stadium. And on current form, you might think that you might, I don't know which teams Mark thinks might get there, but you can't rule Real Madrid being back in that final, or Bayern playing a final at home. It could be any of the knockouts. Man City, Barcelona, there are teams which are...
Liverpool have been a form team, but for some reason...
Liverpool actually the favourites.
The favourites, Many things change.
Between now and May.
Between now and May. After the turn of the injuries coming in there, there is tons and tons of games, players getting... so many things. Especially when you're choosing Liverpool.
Yes, absolutely. So the reason that I came back to that football is because of how crammed that schedule is. So I tell you, FA Cup final, May 17th. Champions League final, May 31st. Meanwhile, all the other leagues have their cups. Spanish Cup, Italian Cup and everything. And you have, I think, 3 of the top 5 leagues in Europe actually going to go down to the wire. In the Premiership, you expect that Liverpool will still be fighting with perhaps Arsenal at the end of the season. I don't know if Chelsea and Man City will recover enough to get there.
Mark, why are you disrespecting Nottingham Forest?
Nottingham Forest, I think, will drop off a little bit. But more importantly, in Spain, both Madrid clubs, Atletico and Madrid and Real, will be fighting with Barcelona to the end of the season for that championship.
No question about that.
And it's the same thing in Italy, where you think that Atalanta and Napoli might be leading now, but they have a problem with Inter Milan, who are the better team than them. So you might have a 3-way fight for the Serie A at the end of the season.
And of course, Mark, there's 2 other major competitions which you've got to mention.
I wanted to come to those.
You have the FIFA Club World Cup, the controversial one.
Exactly.
Where FIFA somehow selected Inter Miami.
Yeah.
And then you obviously have the FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
Yes, I wanted to come to that, Mark, because of that. So when 31st May, you finished FA Cup, you finished Champions League. Within a week, June 4th to about 8th, there's the UEFA Nations League, which they've been playing qualifiers, as Mark will tell you, all throughout the 2024.
Yeah.
So now there'll be like finals, the final groups. You have Spain at the top, you've got Germany and Portugal and France as top 4, and then you've got Italy, the Netherlands, and Denmark and Croatia to complete the top 8. You expect those countries will be competing in that period. Just after them, you have to go to the US for the World Club Cup Mark is talking about. And it's going to run from about June 15th or 16th to July 30th. It's a 4-month tournament because it's been controversially changed to a 32-team format. And it's going to take a lot of
And actually,
players.
what makes it very controversial is that most of the top players don't like it.
Yes.
They think that should be their holiday after very, very long.
That's the thing, because it looks like this holiday is so jam-packed with so much.
And then listen, because remember, this is there for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers for 2026.
2026.
But remember, one of the reasons why AFCON, the African Nations, is being hosted in Morocco in December. Is because the FIFA Club World Cup.
The FIFA Club World Cup, they switched us there. The FIFA have wanted it to replace the Confederations Cup. Now they have this, and yet this is clubs that used to be nations. But they've taken it to 32 teams. So you have, the US are going to host it, and they have the Seattle Sounders in there, and they've smuggled Inter Miami, Lionel Messi and Inter Miami into the tournament to play that.
They smuggled in Messi's team.
So then you've got Mexico with clubs like Pachuca and Monterrey and all will be there. South America, the 2 big ones from Argentina, that is Argentinos will be there. Brazil have 4, Botafogo. They've got Fluminense and Flamengo. They've got Palmeiras.
But Mark, what was very odd, and I belong to an African sports journalism association where they were very, very furious because FIFA would never do that to the European, the the equivalent of AFCON.
Yes.
And
The European Championship.
they'll never do it.
They can't move it on dates just
So,
to accommodate a new
They
tournament.
feel that CAF they didn't hold their position firm because AFCON is a very, very important tournament for Africa. It's been, they said, like 57. It's actually the longer.
Yeah.
I think it's the longest, actually. I think outside of the Copa America, it's the longest continental tournament there's been. Longer than even the European Championship.
Yeah.
The European Championship is held in every summer. Why would CAF? Because AFCON has been tossed from Jan
to summer, and now it's going to December, to Christmas. Really, the thing is, ideally, because at Christmas we're supposed to be resting and all, and then we'll be having this tournament. Ideally, we should insist as Africa to keep our AFCON in Jan. That's the tradition we have, and we started also being flexible about moving it, and now we're being bullied. But thankfully, for the World Club Cup, Africa's going to have 4 clubs there. Al Ahly from Egypt, Wydad Casablanca from Morocco, Esperance from Tunisia, and Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa. So those 4 will be in there. And then you go to Europe. Europe has 11. You have 2 from England, Man City and Chelsea. You've got Bayern and Dortmund. You've got Real Madrid and Atletico. You've got PSG. You've got Red Bull Salzburg. You've got Juventus and the 2 Milan clubs, AC and Inter. So, I mean, it's actually Juventus and Inter who will be in there. But interestingly, while Messi was smuggled into the World Club Cup with Inter Miami, unfortunately, they didn't manage to do that for Cristiano Ronaldo. It would have been nice for him to be there, since now they have made it a commercial thing. But I think from Saudi, it will be Al Hilal, who are a stronger team actually than the Cristiano Al Nassr. Because these guys have Neymar back, they have Mitrovic, they've got Malcolm, they've got Milenkovic-Savic, they've got Ruben Neves, they've got the African Khalid Koulibaly, and the goalkeeper Bono from Morocco and all. So they're star-studded.
It's a strong team.
They're the ones going to play in there. And with
the team already can compete with any European team.
Yeah. When you look at their roster, they can play the Champions League of Europe.
Yeah.
They should be able to play the Champions League of Europe.
Yes.
So largely that's the football and that we're talking about the first half of the season, because after that, then we are summer, transfers, and start of new seasons.
Wow, guys! As you can see, you have so much in store for you. Clearly, when it comes to the European scene and everything else. Right. So now back home, speaking of nostalgia, we are looking at the Ugandan golf. I think it's going to step it up in 2025. And Mark wanted to know if the Greens are going to, bring us glory, and then maybe Mark Ssali will also take us through Uganda on the international level. What will be the headline we'll be writing, on come December?
Yes, so first and foremost, this month we're going to have the launch of the Pearl of Africa Golf Series. So this is going to be Golf Series. This is a brand new tournament, which is going to be solely for the top amateurs and the professionals. They're going to be 4 legs. The first one is next month at Uganda Golf Club. Then they'll go to Entebbe. Then they'll go to Lugazi and then Chigo. So all the top professionals, Ronaldo Gumayo, Adolf Mahomza, Dennis Kamulindwa, Rodeo Gaita, Grace Kasango, and the likes, Fabian Amakula, they've all signed for it. And I think it's going to be quite interesting. There's a couple of sponsors on board. There is a huge kitty. The players are going to earn some very, very good money. And I think it's going to elevate the level of competition, because the professionals haven't had that many tournaments. Now, when you have a guy like Umayo who's competing on the big Easy Tour in South Africa, the Sunshine Tour, he's made the cut at the Magical Kenya Open, he's competed at DP World Tour events in Hamburg, he's competed at Challenge Tour events in France. I think comes with a wealth of experience, and our players will want to compete against him, to match him toe-to-toe and probably beat him. So, but also you also have the top amateurs, Joseph Reganakena, Titus Okong, Joseph Chinyai, and several others. So that's very big news for the golf. But secondly, and most importantly, is that next month we shall have the Magical Kenya Open at Muthaiga, where Umayo made the cut last year.
Yes.
Right now he's in the country, he's winding up his holiday before he goes back to South Africa to sharpen his irons and back on the Sunshine Tour. And so many Ugandan golf enthusiasts have started buying tickets.
When is it, you say?
It's next month, Feb 20th to 24th at Muthaiga. Of course, it's going to be happening.
That's a whole week.
It's actually a whole week, because what Ugandans typically do, they arrive in Kenya like on Monday or Tuesday and start playing courses. Either they go to play Windsor, they go to play Royal, they play Karen, they play Sigona. And then when it comes to Thursday, Friday, they start watching the Major Kenya Open because you have the best DP Tour world golfers who are in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And you have some fantastic top players, Nacho Elvira. You have guys who've been doing impressive stuff, Mark Bean, guys who have been very, very popular names on the European DP World Tour calendar in Nairobi, and they're competing for a kitty, which is in excess of, something like $2.5 million. So you have basically the entire African golf, all the enthusiasts in African golf will be in Nairobi to follow the Major Kenya Open, where we hope that Muthaiga can even, can even go on better. After he made the cut last year, I want him to make the cut again, and this time around, he's going to have a huge gallery because the Kenyans last year said Rugumaya was playing for East Africa, not Uganda.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, actually, I remember that. Yeah, we all followed Rugumaya.
Because all the Kenyans failed to make the cut. So they said Rugumaya is not a Ugandan, he's playing
for East Africa. Yeah, so hole by hole, we are following Rugumaya. It was fantastic, yeah. But for the rest of Uganda, what we might have on the international scene, when I look at it, Pal, is I can start Chikile. In March, we have in the US what they call March Madness.
Okay.
That is college basketball at its best. The NCAA tournament coming to a close. March Madness is where hopefully we might have one or two Ugandans, because there's several Ugandans playing in college basketball this year. Yeah. But of course, they are headlined always by Arthur Kaluma, who's in Texas now, and hopefully he might be in March Madness. So I'll be looking out for that. But we have the world. Mark talked about the World Championships. One talked about Cheptegei and Kiplimo and all. We also have the World Indoor Championships in Nanjing in March, actually, towards the end of March in Nanjing in China, yeah. And World Indoor, just what comes to mind for me usually when you talk indoor is Tasi Sorogot. He's the only sprinter of name that we have these days on a Ugandan athletics team.
Is Uganda's answer to Omanyala?
Omanyala, yeah. And he's broken all our indoor records since he went to college in the US. So he should be competing in that. I think Kiplimo will be one of the others, and maybe Pereth Chemtai to look forward to in Nanjing in the World Indoor Championships. You have the World Swimming Championships coming up in July, and Chirabo is the Chirabo, who's also swimming in the US, who's studying in the US and swimming in the US now, is somebody we're going to have to be looking up to put us on the scene there. You've got World Islamic Solidarity Games in September. We'll look at those as well.
Yeah, Mark, you also got ICC Challenge Rugby World Cup qualifiers.
Yes.
In Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, yeah.
Yeah, because Uganda did well here. We finished top 1-4, drew one game. Yes. If we can emulate the performance in Hong Kong, then who knows, we'll have one foot at the World Cup.
At the World Cup, absolutely, yeah. So we have that cricket, yeah. There's a basic, yeah.
So because after the leg in Hong Kong, there'll be the final one in Tanzania.
Final one in Tanzania, yeah. And then we might actually reach
the World Cup. And of course, having reached the T20 World Cup, I think there's belief that who knows, if we can make it to the 50 over World Cup.
Yeah,
and that would be historic.
Absolutely, that would be nice actually. Cricket, because that World Cup is going to be hosted in Africa, so we're interested in going down to Namibia and South Africa. It's going to be in Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. So we'd really love to qualify for that, so that we have an excuse to go down. Actually, a proper excuse. Yeah, with Uganda there, we would still go even without Uganda.
Are you going?
We went to South Africa.
Mark and I were in South Africa for the World Cup in 2010. Football. Uganda wasn't anywhere near it. So imagine this one where actually Uganda is likely to qualify.
You'll have to be there.
So anyway, so you have that, in Hong Kong. Right, not too far away from them in Singapore. I just said we have the swimming. Then we also have we've got that road race. You remember one of the older episodes I talked about the UCI World Road Race is going to Kigali actually. Yeah. Where you're going to have the best cyclists in the world coming to Kigali in September. Wow. And so our Charles Kajimu might be part of that. Wow. I think so that would be nice. Impressive. If Kajimu went up against Pogacar and the guy nice.
That would be interesting.
And then you've got we've got World Weightlifting Championships for Saudi Arabia later in the year. We might have our new Itai there, and maybe one or two of the girls. And like we said, we have World Championships of Athletics, and then the AFCON to wrap it up in December. So there's quite a calendar. Of course, the domestic calendar is much bigger. I'll skip that for now.
And of course, in rugby, Mark, we also have the Confederation of Africa Rugby Championship, which will be hosted in Uganda as well.
Oh, yes.
So
Yay.
it's a rich venue, 2025.
2025. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Now it comes to my total wisdom. I don't know what I've been giving, but maybe what I can say is that my new thought of the year as we begin there is the best players make adjustments at halftime. So let's be ready to rewrite our stories come 2025, guys. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's note that down. And now we have the betting predictions coming up, guys. And I know we have, thrill seekers among us. So let's just give you some of these things. We have some spicy fixtures to kick off the year. We have Dortmund and this other one, Leverkusen come Friday.
Yeah, those are the two teams that are challenging Bayern Munich for the title in the Bundesliga this year. And they're playing at home, Dortmund. I'd love to fancy them, but I'm going for a draw. Just because Alonso and his team can be dodgy opponents. Yeah, I'm going for a draw. Dortmund and Leverkusen, I'm going for a draw. Let's score a draw.
I'm going for... That's a tough one. I'm going to go for an away win.
For Leverkusen?
For Leverkusen. The Westfalen Stadium. Takes big balls to make such a prediction.
Yeah, Florian Wirtz and Victor Boniface.
I'm going for a 2-1.
Jabiala.
2-1.
Okay.
Okay, now we have Villa and West Ham.
Yeah, Aston Villa versus West Ham is an FA Cup game, I believe. West Ham have sacked Julien Lopetegui, and they should give Villa some trouble. It's going to be a very good.
They've had Graham Potter.
They have had Graham Potter. It's tough, but and Villa might eventually come out victors. But over the 90 minutes period in which people place their bets and all, I think they're going to cancel each other out. I'm also going for another draw here.
2-1 Aston Villa.
Okay,
we have Gladbach versus Bayern.
Which one is that?
Is it Gladbach?
I'm Borussia Mönchengladbach because historically they have given Bayern a bloody nose,
absolutely,
even when they have been at their weakest. I know there was a time when they were really strong in the 80s when the Effenbergs were coming out of their Felix Magath and all. They used to give...
Actually, from as far back as the 70s. Given Bayern.
Oh, yeah. Patty Watts and company. Yeah. So they've always given Bayern a bloody nose. Now, it's an away game, and I expect... And Bayern will be having some rust from the Christmas break and everything.
Yes.
I am thinking Gladbach will still cause them trouble. But then I say an away win. A tight one, though. I'm going to 1 Bayern.
2-0 Bayern for me.
Okay, then we have Brest versus Lyon.
Now, Brest is one of the best teams in the French League One this year, and they've done so well in the Champions League. Actually, they I think really shoo-ins to qualify for the knockout rounds in the 16, perhaps even in the top 8 automatically. And Lyon, I'm going for Brest win, home win, despite Lyon's better squad. Mark is going for Brest.
I think I'm going for Brest as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going for Brest. 2-1 Brest.
2-1. We have Torino versus Juve.
That's another derby. That's a derby in the Turin. They call it the Turin derby.
Turin derby.
In Italy. They're not in the same class usually. Most of the time, Juventus are far superior to Torino. Not this year. I don't think they're that much better. Although Juventus are on a recovery path from some lean spells over the last 2-3 years. But I still fancy them to win that derby. Juve. I'm going another 2-1.
I'm going for a 0-0.
Now let's look at Arsenal versus Man.
That's the big one.
Come Sunday.
That's the big one for the weekend, yeah.
Yes.
Arsenal versus Man United. Again, like I told you, this is an FA Cup game. Like cup games, there will be an eventual winner. But over the 90-minute period in which people place their bets and everything, I'm still going for them to cancel each other out. So I'm going for a draw over the 90. I don't know if Arsenal will be victors at the end of the evening or no, but over that period of the betting, I'm going for a draw.
I'm going for Man United.
Okay.
Man United away.
Wow. Man United away. I'm going for either 2-1
Fantastic.
Yeah, and just before we close, Mark, I'll put you on the spot because the rugby league does start this weekend. Who do you think is going to win the title?
Rugby.
Yes, the rugby league.
Wow.
So this weekend, Pirates are playing Walukuwa, Cobs are playing Rhinos, Heathens are playing Warriors.
I don't know who's.
I would ask Paul which team is going to be the title.
I want to lean with Paul. I want to go Cobs with Paul, but I don't know. Let me go with Paul Cobs. Let me make Paul happy.
Part of the Pirates.
I'm a pirate.
Part of the Zero. Part of the Zero buyer.
This thing is in record. Don't make that mistake.
Paul is Pirates. So I'm allowed to change. Pirates.
Pirates just signed a huge sponsorship deal with Rock Telecom, 450 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think,
so
unless they came close, they lost to Heathens in the playoff.
I'm going for Pirates. I'm going Pirates, not Cobs. Pirates.
yeah, you go with a winning team, definitely.
Okay. Heathens won it last year. They won the double last year. They're not going to win it again. Mark and Paul have gone with Pirates. I'm going with Cobs.
Of course.
Definitely.
What do you expect from a farm bowler? Farm bowlers really have a bias towards Cobs. There you are, Paul. Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for being with us. 2025 is here, and the Mark2Mark conversation is where all the action begins. Stick with us, as we bring you all the amazing things coming through, and maybe to remind my people coming to rugby, I want to give shout outs to the Black Pearls and the, Sunday Black Pirates. I wish you all the best come this Saturday. It's going to be at KPA, that's Kings Park Arena. And of course, we're expecting the best. So guys, stay tuned, stick with us as we bring you all the amazing, games, banter and the wins. And yeah, until next time, enjoy the games and have an amazing weekend.